An elderly couple used a forbidden spellbook to revive their dead grandson, but everything ended in tragedy. The film opens by showing the life of an elderly couple named Audrey and Henry who live together and appear to be an ordinary retired pair, when in fact they are secretly planning something big. One day, a heavily pregnant woman comes to their house because Henry is known to work as an obstetrician. Instead of helping her, Audrey and Henry abduct the woman and drag her inside. Her name is Shannon, and she is already in the late stage of pregnancy. When she regains consciousness, Shannon finds herself tied up with her mouth gagged, while Audrey stands in front of her preparing to read something. Audrey and Henry briefly apologize for what they have done, explaining that although Shannon is being held captive, they will take good care of her until she gives birth, but they also make it clear that Shannon will never be released. After that, Henry steps outside to test something, while Audrey removes the gag from Shannon's mouth, causing Shannon to scream at the top of her lungs. However, her screams cannot be heard outside because the soundproofing they installed works perfectly.
Hello?
She's up! Hello, my name is Audrey, and this is my husband Henry. You should know your unborn child no harm. We would like to apologize for scaring you.
Give me a minute.
Audrey tells Shannon that screaming is useless and will only waste her energy. Even though Audrey claims she does not intend to hurt her, Shannon remains terrified. Audrey even threatens to gag Shannon again if she keeps screaming. Desperate, Shannon asks why Audrey is doing all this, and Audrey answers that they want to bring back their grandson, Jackson, who has died. At that moment, Shannon realizes she can see Jackson, while Audrey cannot see him at all. At first, Shannon thinks Jackson is still alive, but she is shocked when Audrey says that Jackson died a long time ago, making Shannon realize that what she is seeing is Jackson's spirit. Shannon also notices a wound on the back of Jackson's head, confirming that the child is truly dead.
I don't want to have to gag you again, but I will. All right, you rest. I'll bring you some lunch.
Why are you doing this?
Bring our grandson back.
Finished.
Him? See, he's dead.
Even though she cannot see Jackson, Audrey still plays her grandson's favorite music before leaving Shannon alone. Audrey later tells Henry that Shannon can see Jackson, which they take as a good sign, making them even more confident that their plan to resurrect Jackson will succeed. Henry considers taking the day off, but Audrey forbids it and tells him to go to work as usual to avoid suspicion. As he is about to leave, Henry runs into a man named Rory, who works clearing snow in front of the house. Henry asks Rory to go home, saying Audrey is sick to avoid any risk, and Rory leaves without asking many questions.
Shovel your snow. Mrs. Walsh is pretty sick. I think we should let her rest this morning.
Okay, I'll come back in a couple of days when she's feeling better.
Meanwhile, inside the house, Audrey keeps her promise to take care of Shannon as best she can. She gives Shannon some vitamins even though Shannon's hands are still tied. Shannon refuses to take them out of suspicion, but Audrey does not force her and assures her they are just regular vitamins. While checking Shannon's belongings, Audrey finds her phone and medication inside her jacket. Because she has trouble reading small text, Audrey briefly leaves to get her glasses, unknowingly leaving Shannon's phone on the table. Shannon uses the opportunity to grab the phone and try to call for help, but her attempt fails when Audrey quickly returns and takes the phone away before Shannon can do anything further. Shannon then realizes there is a teddy bear in the room fitted with a small hidden camera, deliberately placed so Audrey can learn Shannon's phone password. Desperate, Shannon begs to be released, but Audrey refuses and gags her again. Audrey then accesses Shannon's social media and posts fake updates pretending Shannon is on vacation so no one will come looking for her. Audrey finally tells Shannon to stop resisting and accept her situation because according to Audrey, everything they have planned will go smoothly as long as Shannon cooperates.
Time for our morning vitamins. Don't worry, they're just vitamins. Don't worry, don't worry. I need to get my glasses. No. 029.
The story then shifts into a flashback that reveals the origin of this horrifying plan. Audrey and Henry have secretly possessed a mysterious spell book for a long time. To prove that it is real, Audrey suggests conducting an experiment. They find the corpse of a crow, and Audrey drips a small amount of her blood onto it while reciting an incantation from the book. Unexpectedly, the crow suddenly comes back to life.
Just hold it here.
Let me open it. Sus moem sanguinem. The book is real. We can do this.
This experiment confirms that the spell book is genuine, and from that moment on, Audrey and Henry firmly decide to resurrect Jackson. It is also revealed that Shannon was actually one of Henry's patients. Shannon originally came to Henry's clinic because she felt something was wrong with her body and even suspected she had an illness. However, Henry delivers the shocking truth that Shannon is pregnant. This news brings Shannon no happiness at all, as she does not know who the father of the baby is due to her past lifestyle. Her situation becomes even more complicated because abortion is illegal in the area where they live, meaning that if she wanted to do it legally, she would have to go elsewhere. Knowing that Shannon lives alone and is emotionally vulnerable, Henry tries to comfort her by saying that the pregnancy is not the end of her life. However, from that very moment, Shannon quietly becomes a target for Audrey and Henry. The story then returns to the present, where Audrey and Henry attend a community gathering and meet a man named Ian, who turns out to be a member of the same group as them. It is gradually revealed that this community is a cult that worships demons, and these meetings are routine gatherings they consider a form of worship.
Hail Satan. As it was in the void of the beginning.
That night, Audrey and Henry finally begin the ritual they have been planning for so long. Inside the house, Shannon suddenly vomits a large amount of blood and is overwhelmed with terror. Despite seeing Shannon's condition rapidly worsen, Audrey and Henry continue the ritual with unwavering determination. They summon demonic forces to assist with the transfer of a soul, intending for Jackson's soul to be placed into the unborn baby inside Shannon's womb. At the same time, the electricity in the house begins to flicker, and Shannon's body convulses violently, signaling that the ritual is actually working. Audrey continuously recites foreign language incantations from the spellbook without stopping. After a long wait, they finally see Jackson's figure again. Filled with hope, Audrey and Henry beg Jackson to enter Shannon's body, specifically the body of the baby she is carrying, so that Jackson can be reborn. However, their hope is instantly shattered when part of the ceiling suddenly collapses, causing Jackson's figure to disappear. When Henry clears away the fallen debris, they instead see a terrifying figure standing behind Audrey. The entity then approaches Shannon, and slowly her convulsions stop, followed by the electricity in the house returning to normal. Henry immediately checks Shannon's condition and finds that although she is weak, she is still alive and relatively stable.
You don't have to do this. We wish to invite our Dark Lord.
My blood is your blood.
Don't hurt my baby. Nos invite, Sir Gott. Nos invitare in domam. Come and take the baby.
Go on, Jackie.
The next morning, Henry wakes up later than usual and sees Audrey flossing her teeth. Henry admits that he had previously been filled with doubt about everything they were doing, but after the ritual the night before, his confidence is restored. He believes their plan will finally succeed and that Jackson will soon return to them. At the same time, Henry receives a phone call from someone claiming to be Audrey, asking him to help pick up groceries downstairs. Henry is instantly confused because Audrey is clearly standing right in front of him. The Audrey he sees suddenly begins flossing her teeth excessively until several teeth fall out while blood fills her mouth.
Had a hell of a time sleeping last night. Hello.
Henry, can you give me a hand with the groceries?
Audrey.
Audrey!
When she turns to face Henry, her appearance is horrifying, leaving Henry screaming in terror. Moments later, the disturbing vision vanishes when the real Audrey appears. Henry tells Audrey what he just saw, but Audrey sees nothing at all and dismisses it as a hallucination caused by exhaustion. Henry then tries to resume his normal routine and goes to work. At his workplace, he is visited by a detective named Bellows, who is investigating Shannon's disappearance. Henry is known to be one of the last people scheduled to meet Shannon before she went missing. Calmly, Henry explains that the appointment was canceled by Shannon herself, so they never met that day. Because Henry appears calm and not suspicious, Bellows does not press further. After the meeting, Henry quickly calls Audrey to inform her that the police have begun investigating Shannon's disappearance. Audrey is not particularly surprised, as she already expected the police to get involved, and for her the most important thing is that they remain calm. Meanwhile, back at the house, Audrey hears a knock at the front door. When she opens it, she finds a child completely covered in a white sheet like a ghost costume asking for candy, even though it is clearly not Halloween. Thinking it is just a prank, Audrey closes the door. However, the knocking starts again, this time from the back door. When she checks, the ghost costume child appears once more. Audrey shuts the door again, but the figure keeps moving around until it suddenly seems to be inside the house. Overcome with fear, Audrey runs upstairs and tries to call Henry, but he does not answer right away. From downstairs, she sees the small ghost-like figure running through the house. When Henry finally answers the phone, Audrey begs him to come home immediately, but the voice on the other end tells her that she must give up her soul. Audrey realizes that the person speaking is not Henry. Panicking, Audrey tries to use the elevator to escape, but when the doors open, a large figure dressed entirely in a white ghost costume is standing inside. Audrey is terrified, and moments later the figure disappears, leaving only the white cloth behind. Still shaking, Audrey goes to Shannon's room. Shannon asks why Audrey was screaming earlier. Audrey explains that the ghost-costumed child reminded her of her own daughter, who is also Jackson's mother, and who used to wear a ghost costume every Halloween. When Shannon asks where Audrey's daughter is now, Audrey remains silent and leaves the room. Shortly afterward, Shannon realizes that the teddy bear above her is fitted with a hidden camera, so she shakes the bed until the bear falls, preventing Audrey from monitoring her movements. Shannon then tries to free herself from the handcuffs, but is suddenly horrified to see a ghost beneath the bed, a male spirit with his head wrapped in plastic, moving in a backbend position. Shannon's fear reaches its peak as the creature slowly approaches while she is unable to move freely. She can only scream as the ghost climbs onto the bed and begins biting her stomach. Moments later, Audrey rushes into the room, and this time she can also see the ghost. The entity moves toward Audrey but disappears the moment Henry enters. Henry immediately stitches Shannon's wound and makes sure her life is not in danger. Now both Henry and Audrey realize that their house is filled with invisible entities. This situation begins to plant doubt in Audrey's heart, making her question whether everything they are doing is truly right. The next day, they notice that more and more crows are gathering around the house, a clear sign that their ritual has had serious consequences. In the middle of the growing chaos, Rory suddenly returns. Audrey quickly hides while Henry meets Rory outside and firmly states that their work agreement has been canceled. Rory explains that he is separating from his wife and never received the cancellation message. Henry actually wants Rory to leave as soon as possible so he will not hear Shannon's screams, but Rory insists on clearing the snow anyway as a free service, since Henry is a loyal customer. Things spiral further out of control when Rory starts operating the snow clearing machine and even greets Audrey, thinking she is sick. Inside the house, Audrey becomes increasingly anxious because too many supernatural beings are now appearing when only Jackson was supposed to return. Henry tries to reassure her, saying everything will soon be over because in a few days, Shannon will give birth, and after that they will move to Mexico. However, the atmosphere suddenly changes when Rory says they were right, because Jackson truly is in the house. Moments later, Rory begins acting strangely and ends his own life by throwing himself into the snow clearing machine. Realizing they are far beyond the point of turning back, Audrey and Henry secretly dispose of Rory's body without involving anyone else. A few days later, Audrey continues caring for Shannon, whose wrists are injured from being handcuffed. Filled with guilt, Audrey wraps cloth around the cuffs to prevent further harm. Shannon does not try to escape when the cuffs are briefly loosened, instead asking Audrey if she plans to kill her after Jackson returns. Audrey does not answer, and her silence alone is enough for Shannon to understand the bitter truth. Shannon then asks about Audrey's daughter, and in a heavy voice, Audrey explains that her daughter and Jackson were involved in a car accident. Jackson died on the spot while his mother suffered severe physical and mental trauma, eventually becoming unable to accept reality and choosing to end her own life.
Stay the hell away from me.
Any blood circulation, just make it a lot softer for you.
You're gonna kill me and you have your grandson back. You're not saying anything.
Elsewhere, Henry is busy burying Rory's body in a spot he believes is safe and hidden. As he tries to calm himself, his phone suddenly rings. Detective Bellows calls him, saying she wants to confirm several important details and plans to meet Henry again, even intending to come directly to his house. The situation becomes more urgent when Bellows tells him that she is already quite close to Henry's home, while Henry himself is still far away.
Yes, hello?
Dr. Walsh, I'm wondering if I could come see you for a quick chat. Can I come by your house?
Yes, of course.
I'm actually in your neighborhood. Let's meet at your house.
Well, actually, I'm out right now.
Meanwhile, inside the house, Shannon tries to seize the moment by speaking honestly with Audrey. She says she is willing to help Audrey and Henry, even offering to become Jackson's mother if that is what they truly want. Audrey does not immediately believe her, assuming Shannon is simply trying to manipulate her in order to escape. Calmly, Shannon explains that although she does not agree with what they have done, she understands their reasons. Audrey is doing everything for her grandson, and Shannon is also willing to sacrifice herself for the child she is carrying. Shannon adds that as time passes, Audrey and Henry will grow old, while Jackson will need someone to care for and raise him. Audrey remains doubtful, but Shannon keeps reassuring her that she is sincere. In the middle of their conversation, there is a knock at the door. Audrey goes to check, while Henry rushes back home as fast as he can after seeing Bellows' car parked outside. When Henry enters, he finds the situation already in chaos. Bellows is upstairs and has witnessed Shannon being held captive by Henry's family, and Henry also sees that Audrey's hands have been tied by Bellows. Before Bellows can take any further action or call for backup, something horrifying happens. Right in front of them, Bellows suddenly takes her own life. This occurs because the spirits not only haunt the house but also begin influencing anyone nearby, causing both Bellows and Rory to end their lives without realizing it. Once again, Audrey and Henry's plan is saved in an unbelievable way. Since Bellows never managed to contact anyone, they quickly dispose of her body to cover up what happened. Originally, Audrey and Henry's plan required only one sacrifice to bring Jackson back, but now 2 lives have been lost, pushing the situation further out of control. Audrey intends to tell Henry about Shannon's offer, but before she can, there is another knock at the door. This time, Ian arrives, the person they had called for consultation. Ian, who is also a member of the same devil-worshipping cult, listens as Henry explains how he obtained the spellbook during a trip to Jerusalem. They express their confusion over why Jackson has not returned, even though all ritual steps were completed. Ian reads the book and realizes there has been a fatal translation error. Audrey explains that they summoned a demon named Surgat because the book said the entity could resurrect the dead. Ian clarifies that Surgat is not a resurrection demon, but an entity that opens a gateway between the living and the dead. This mistake did not only summon Jackson, it also opened the door for other spirits to enter and seek bodies as vessels. Ian is then shown Shannon, tied up as the intended sacrifice. He is not surprised by her condition and concludes that their ritual is incomplete. Ian says he can finish the ritual, but only on one condition: Shannon must be sacrificed. His help does not come free as he demands the spellbook and $10,000. Since money is not an issue, Audrey and Henry agree. Ian says he needs to prepare first, so the ritual will continue the next day. As an initial measure, Ian advises drawing salt lines around the room to block interference from other entities.
Where did you find this?
I flew to Jerusalem and
This might be the oldest book in the world.
You asked Surgat to bring him back.
It's okay.
Is she alive?
Yes.
You actually did the right thing.
Our grandson, the reason that we're doing this.
I get to keep the book and $10,000.
No problem.
You're gonna need salt.
That night, Henry keeps watch over Shannon. Shannon again brings up her offer to stay alive and be part of Jackson's life. But Henry has already discarded his humanity for the sake of the ritual and completely ignores her plea. He then reveals a shocking truth. The person driving the car in the accident that killed Jackson was actually Audrey herself. Everything Henry is doing now is solely for Audrey, who has never been able to accept her grandson's death, especially since her daughter's death also stemmed from that same incident. In the middle of their conversation, Bellows' spirit suddenly appears and once again takes her own life in front of Henry, as if trapped in an endless cycle of death. Henry realizes that anyone who dies in this house will continue to wander as a ghost. Meanwhile, Ian is at his own home studying the spellbook to prepare for the next ritual. After he finishes, Ian returns to Henry's house. When no one answers the door, he lets himself in and is once again startled by Bello's ghost. Realizing time is running out, they decide to begin the ritual immediately without waiting any longer. Ian instructs Audrey to recite the incantation while he leads Henry outside the room. He counts several steps and scatters dead rats as part of the preparation, then warns Henry that there may come a time when Henry himself must kill Shannon. If Henry hesitates, Ian insists that everyone could die. Inside the house, Audrey resumes drawing ritual symbols on the floor. Shannon realizes that her time is running out. Using hunger as an excuse, Shannon asks for food, causing Audrey to leave her alone for a moment. Shannon takes advantage of this opportunity to loosen the restraints and manages to free one of her hands, although the other hand remains handcuffed. She then spills water and breaks a glass, pretending to panic and claiming that her water has broken. Audrey immediately calls Henry and Ian, and they rush back to begin the ritual to transfer Jackson's soul into the baby that Shannon is about to give birth to. Accidentally, Ian steps on the salt line that is supposed to protect the room, breaking the barrier and allowing spirits to enter. Ian hastily continues the ritual. At the same time, Henry receives a call from another cult member informing him that Ian has just killed his own mother. Henry quickly warns Audrey that there is something seriously wrong with Ian, but the ritual has already begun.
Henry! Ian killed his mother last night?
Something's wrong with Ian. Ian slashes his own leg as part of the process, while Shannon only pretends to be in pain. Shannon then secretly grabs a shard of glass from the broken cup and suddenly takes Audrey hostage, demanding that Henry hand over the key to the handcuffs. Audrey begs Henry to continue the ritual, but Henry finally realizes that he loves Audrey more than Jackson. Afraid of losing her, Henry gives the handcuff key to Shannon. Shannon releases Audrey and quickly unlocks the remaining restraints. Her left hand and right leg are already free, leaving only one leg still bound. However, Ian stops her by snatching the key back. Having lost his patience, Ian stabs Audrey in the stomach. Without hesitation, Ian continues the ritual and calls upon the demon to choose any vessel it desires. At the same time, Shannon, with her free hand, manages to stab Ian in the leg. A ghost suddenly appears and drags Ian out of the room. Henry stands frozen in shock as he sees Audrey lying lifeless, while Shannon desperately tries to reach the key to unlock the handcuff, still binding her leg. Shortly after, the ghost that had previously moved in a backbend position appears again, this time intending to enter the baby inside Shannon's body. Before the spirit can do so, Henry makes his final decision by grabbing the key that had fallen during the struggle with Ian and freeing the handcuff on Shannon's leg. Henry apologizes for everything he has done and tells Shannon to run as far away as possible before things get even worse. At the same time, something begins to emerge from Audrey's lifeless body, as if another force is trying to take over her as a new vessel. The failed ritual also brings a horrifying consequence for Henry, as a dark entity emerges from his own body and ultimately takes his life. Now completely free, Shannon realizes that the house is filled with countless wandering spirits, including seeing Rory's ghost repeatedly reliving his death in the same way as Bello's. Without wasting any time, Shannon escapes the house and uses Bello's car to flee as far away as possible from the cursed place. Along the way, Shannon briefly stops after seeing an apparition, then anxiously holds her stomach, worried about the condition of the baby she is carrying. After realizing that her baby is still safe, Shannon continues driving, and the story comes to an end.